What is going on, guys? Duranathor here, and I'd like to welcome you to a new sort of challenge series that I'm doing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I've been thinking for a while what kind of challenge I could do, and I think the best thing to do would be sort of like a one archetype. I know you can see the lone fires in there. I will explain all the rules and everything in a moment. I thought I would start on Rikka, considering it's a deck that I know the most about, and to also sort of see if it works and see what different types of rules and things I should put in. The thought process is, if a card exists from the archetype, whether it's main deck or extra deck, I have to play at least one copy of it. To prove that I've got at least one copy of it, you can craft cards from here if you don't own them. As you can see, I will research Rikka. As you can see, I've got at least one copy of every Rikka card, just so that I'm not ending up playing just a pile of cards that sometimes can't do anything. Obviously there's 3 Tranquility, 3 Sheet. Ideally don't really want to be playing 3, but I didn't want it to be like, oh, I can just play one of each and then throw a load of other cards in there. I want it to be a challenge, but I don't want it to be ridiculously impossible. So I've made a rule so that I can have so I have to play one, or at least one, of every card in the archetype if it exists. I'll think on that when we get to bigger archetypes, because if there's something that has, 70 cards in its archetype, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but obviously I can't play one of each because you can't have a 70 card deck. There will be some copies I'll play 2 of, some I'll play 3 of, because they're just better than the others, but I have to play at least one. Just so I don't just flat out lose to everything, I'm also allowing myself to play the 2 Called by the Grave. I'm not going to allow myself to play Cross Out, because then that means I can play hand traps like Maxi and Ash and things, and that kind of takes away from the challenge. I might as well just play my regular deck. And then 5 cards I can have as wild cards. So in this case, I've chosen 3 Lone Fire Blossom, a Harpy's Feather Duster, and a 1-for-1. I don't want those 5 cards to be 3 evenly matched, and I just make sure I go second. I'm kind of limiting myself away from playing the typical power cards. I know technically Harpy's Feather Duster is, but this deck has 0 way of removing spell and traps. And if I come up against Labyrinth or something like that, I just flat out lose to it. So I don't want to make it a ridiculously hard challenge, but at the same time I don't want to try and make it easy. And then with the extra deck, I'm allowing myself 3 extra deck monsters. I've chosen Ulse, Hyperiton, and Jasmine. I'm probably never really going to summon the Jasmine. It'll mainly be Ulse and Hyperiton, but Jasmine's there just in case. As you can see, the deck is on the screen. I won't run through absolutely everything. Just let me know if you think those rules are too harsh. Let me know if you think those rules are too soft. I was just going to do you can only play cards from the archetype, but there are some archetypes that don't even have 40 cards, and yes, okay, I could just not do that as a challenge, but I kind of, I want to try different decks, and I also want to try decks that I've played. The next ones I'm thinking of doing will be either Trickstar, Fortune Lady, Trap Trick, and Exo Sister. There's 4 other ideas I have. But there's Light Sworn. I could try Light Sworn. There's Tenyi. I could see if I could make Tenyi work. There's loads of things that I could do. So yeah, just as a recap, just before we jump into the duel, if there is a card in the archetype, I have to use at least 1 copy. I have given myself 5 slots in the main deck to play cards that will help facilitate the deck. So things like Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm. Maybe I'll allow myself Lightning Storm, but things like Evenly Matched, I just won't play. Things like Nibiru, I just won't play. Those typical, Ash Blossom, Maxi, things like that, which I understand can put me at a massive disadvantage, but it's a challenge. And then 3 cards from the extra deck. So without further ado, let's save this and make sure I do actually pick it. I'm not at a very high rank because I haven't played this in quite a long time, but it also might be helpful for the first challenge to come up against people that might not be playing an absolutely ridiculous bonkers deck. change to the challenge deck here. And jump into our first game. So we won the coin toss, which means we are going first. Okay. Okay, so we got the glamour, which is very helpful. And we will search, or we'll just get ashed. Which pretty much ends my turn. So I guess I'll set a sheet, and away we go. As I said just before, like, you know, let me know if you think these rules are too harsh. Let me know if you think these rules are too soft. I will revisit them. I mean, I can't do anything, so let's just leave them to it. Let's leave them to it. Let's see what happens. If this is like live twin sprite or something like that, I think I'm just knackered. No point activating sheet because he's already activated his effect. Sheet stops them from activating the effect, doesn't negate the effect. And I can't tribute to steal, so there's not too much I can do here. Maybe I'll just have to wait for the right opportunity. Is this arm summon? If this card is special and you control, you draw during the main phase. If you do not, quick effect, special summon one. So because it's a quick effect, there's no point trying to sheet because he will just chain it. So yeah, like in this situation, imperm would be so much better, but I don't want to just like throw 3 imperm and 2 evenly matched in, because then you can just throw that into every single deck. I want it to kind of be something that like facilitates the deck. So Lone Fire does help the deck, 1-for-1 helps the deck, and Harpy's Feather Duster, yes, it's a power card, but as mentioned, this deck has no spell and trap removal. Try, tie one. I mean, since he's gonna destroy it, I might as well chain. And he'll probably just chain its other effect. I mean, I think I just lose. Because this, yeah. So, ouch. Could he play this in attack? No, it had to be defense. Okay, otherwise he just won. He draws. I think the other one does something as well. Like, I have to draw. It's carrot. Spell or trap. Tribute one other rank or link to. Okay. His draw has to be this draw has to be good. It's a petal. It's a petal. So it fully depends what this face down is. What can this do? So when a trap is activated, you can set a trap. When a card is activated, when this card, each time your opponent normal specials, you gain 200 and inflict 200. Okay, so I need to get rid of the carrot and then Harpy's Feather Duster. target card on the field, destroy it. Awesome. Well, here's a challenge. So we lost our first game, got absolutely decimated because our opponent ashed the Rikka Glamour and we had nothing else that we could do. So let's jump into this second game. Once again, we won the dice roll, the coin flip, sorry, so we are going first. We will start off with Glamour, and hopefully my opponent doesn't ash it this time. He doesn't. So where do we want to go from here? We have a princess in hand. Let's add a snowdrop. We can petal, and with petal, I believe the right play would be to add Mudan. We should snowdrop effect. Summon the Mudan and the snowdrop. We'll activate Mudan. We will add maybe a Flurries. We'll add a Flurries. Activate the effect of our princess. And then activate the effect of Snowdrop. Target the princess. And overlay into a Strenna. With Strenna's effect, we will send and then get back the Mudan. We can Con here. Con we can set. I believe Ricochet would be the best thing to go for. We can activate our Flurries. And I think that's where we should stop. Because we have... I should have took off the princess, but we'll see what happens here. We have obviously the negate and steal. If we tribute something, it forces them to tribute something as well. Setting a few. Okay. We will get back our petal. And a lone fire for turn is very helpful. It's very helpful. Let's add. I think a Halibor here would be a good idea, because then if he has something that targets, we can protect it. And let's set a Glamour, because I want to add another Snowdrop. That was a Mudan. That's me being silly. Cool. Cool. And if we normal summon Lone Fire here. Actually, no, this does work. This is okay. We can Lone Fire, tribute the Strenna. We'll summon a Cyclamen. With Strenna's effect, we'll summon Ulsay. Because we're going to bounce one of these two back to the top of his deck. Tribute to reduce their levels by 2. But what we're going to do is Snowdrop to target the Cyclamen and make everything level 4. Make Another Strenna. And with this Strenna effect, we'll detach and get back our Lone Fire to follow up the next turn. I don't want to tribute this because Strenna's once per turn, but with Alsay effect, we will declare Karibo. Crib. I cannot spell. Get rid of the sheet. Use Alsay effect, detach the Strenna, put this one to the top of his deck. Now, we will make these two into Jasmine, just for the extra damage, and then we can also tribute our Alsay. It isn't going to be doing too much. Let's go battle phase. Then into main phase 2, we can tribute the Alsay that now doesn't really do anything. And I think maybe the best one to go for will be a Snowdrop. And we'll end it there. I should win because he's just going to draw the card that he set. There we go. And because a lot didn't really happen in that game, I will jump into one more. And once again, we won the coin flip. So we are going first. We will normal summon the Cyclamen just to see if our opponent has any response. And as they do not, we will Rikka Princess. To go into Strenna. Our opponent does... Oh yeah, I can't obviously detach and add because there's nothing in the graveyard. So we will move on to tribute Strenna. We'll move on and Strenna. It's not really worth going for the Hyperiton here, so with Strenna I will go for Teardrop. And attach. And with the Moodon, we will add our Rikka Concon. We'll activate our Concon. I could potentially add a Glamour here, but I think the best bet would be not add, sorry, to set a Glamour and activate it. But we'll set Rikka Sheet, and then we'll also set Rikka Tranquility, and go from there. Cyber Dragon. Okay. Discarding a Phoenix. I think I'm okay with him special summoning this. Special summon that as well. And I think I'll hang fire because I contribute something to normal summons. And also here, because I don't want him having the add, I will Princess and tribute his card to negate this. So you can't add the Spell or Trap. And Teardrop does gain some extra attack. Now I don't have a Petal recurring, I can set. Now, I don't want him having this, so I'm going to tribute his vertex. I could have, like, potentially cheat, steal, and then tranquility, but so where do we go from here? Draw flurries, which isn't great in all honesty, but we should be okay. Can Rikka Con. We will set a glamour. Activate a glamour. We won't tribute. Ash Blossom, maybe? Ash Blossom, is painful, but it's okay. Crave. We won't get our Mudan's effect if we special summon using Tranquility, because it has to be special summoned by a plant effect. But what I could do is Tranquility to special summon. Yeah, I'm gonna Tranquility, tributing the Mudan, to then special summon the Mudan, and because it was tributed. The Cyclamen. I will then tribute summon the Erika, and that also boosts. And what we can do here is to summon the Kanzashi, and even without the boosted attacks, this is game, because you can attack with the Teardrop, attack with the Kanzashi. It's not game. If I had a tribute, thing underneath, I could then tribute it. It would be game if you had a material underneath, because you can tribute the Teardrop and then Kanzashi to revive the Teardrop. But here, where we've got the flurries, we've got Cyclamen coming back, and we've also got a Rikka sheet. This should be fine. He has a face down that he hasn't done anything with, and a singular card that he's drawing for turn. So even if it's Raigeki, Lightning Storm, so he's special summoning one from his deck, which is okay. These aren't in the extra monster zone, so he shouldn't be able to use them. Yeah, 3 more side actions, activate both. So he's adding a monster from deck, targeting one and shuffling that. Okay. Adding a core. Normaling a core. What we'll do here is Rikka sheet. We will tribute the core that he's summoning. Steal his Cyber Dragon. Teardrop will gain, and we'll also chain Kanzashi. We'll detach the Erika, because if something is tributed, Erika can come back. And I think we'll just steal his core, and then we could get the best game. Awesome. Awesome. So there we go. I know this is at low rank, but it's something I just wanted to test, something I wanted to see if it was interest of people. I'll jump back in so you can just see the deck here. If you guys have enjoyed this, let me know down in the comments whether you think the challenge was too easy, the challenge was too hard, anything that I can do to improve it, maybe even like an archetype that you want me to play. And obviously, as you can see, I haven't got that much CP at the moment, because I did use quite a bit, not only to make this deck, but also to make a couple of the other deck profiles. But I'm always happy to try something out, always happy to give something a go. If you guys do have an idea, please pop it down in the comment section. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.